This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Going green. This Nova Scotia town wants to use 100% renewable energy. It's now more than halfway there. Birds of prey. The province launches a new helicopter fleet named by the public to help fight wildfires. And from paralyzed in the audience to playing the stage, Connor Hurdle's full circle return to Cavendish.
After a decent day, there is a chance with some heat and a bit of humidity. A cold front moving in could spark off some thunderstorms tonight. As for what that means for your forecast for Wednesday, I'll have those details just ahead.
Good evening. A small town in the Annapolis Valley is making massive strides towards a green future, already pulling half of its power from renewable energy. Local clean energy investments are also cutting down both emissions and power bills. As Josh Hoffman tells us, they're already seeing light at the end of the tunnel.
The town of Berwick wants 100% of the power it uses to come from renewable energy. And it's already more than halfway there because of investments in infrastructure like this. The Centennial Community Solar Garden came online in 2023. It's the town's latest effort to become a zero-emissions community, but certainly not its first.
The start of energy creation in Berwick is well over 100 years old.
Berwick has been turning natural energy into electricity since 1921, when the Factory Dale Hydroelectric Dam came online. Since then, the town has expanded to utilizing solar and wind power. Mayor Mike Trinasti says there's several benefits to investing in this infrastructure beyond protecting the environment.
One is the ratepayers. If we can produce our own power, then we can sell it to our own ratepayers. And right now we've historically been well below Nova Scotia power rates. Right now, for residents, we're probably 3.5% lower.
Berwick is one of 5 municipalities in Nova Scotia that has its own electric utility. And having your own utility means you have your own staff, which the mayor says is a big bonus.
It's more reliable, and we hear that all the time because we have our own staff and we produce our own power. Then when outages occur in the area around us, we tend to have fewer.
With all this existing infrastructure, roughly 60% of the power Berwick uses comes from renewables. But there are hurdles ahead if they want to get to 100%. Trinasti says they can't afford to build any new infrastructure, and they run into a lot of red tape from the province and Nova Scotia Power when trying to make decisions about energy production. Also, their 100-year-old hydroelectric dam is undergoing a $6 million rebuild, and there's no timeline when it will be back online. So, what are they going to do?
To us, the next step in the game is batteries and allows us to be deliberate, store some energy, and release it when we want it to happen versus when the sun shines or when the wind blows.
Despite all these challenges, these officials are optimistic that one day their town will be powered entirely by green energy. Josh Hoffman, CBC News, Berwick.
A man has died in a residential fire in East Chesapeake. RCMP said the fire broke out at a home on East Chesapeake Road at around 7:30 this morning. When the fire was extinguished, the remains of a 59-year-old man were found inside. The cause is under investigation. 5 Annapolis Valley Library branches slated to close this month will stay open, at least for now. Monday night, the board of Annapolis Valley Regional Libraries agreed to use some reserve funds to keep the branches open until the end of September. That includes Hantsport, Kentville, Lawrencetown, Middleton, and Port Williams. The board will now re-up its request to local municipalities for more money. The provincial government has said it cannot give any more.
The library board has been clear about what its financial position is and what it has to do in order to be financially responsible. We are dependent upon the decisions of the funders around what level of service they want to see in this region and what level of service they're willing to fund.
Merritt says even if they get the requested $350,000 from municipalities to keep the branches open until next spring, a $50,000 shortfall remains. Halifax Council voted to delay the increase of transit fares after receiving a report that the long-awaited tap-to-pay system will not be ready until at least December. Buses and ferry fares were scheduled to go up by 25 cents on September 21st. A new tap-to-pay system, which allows customers to use contactless cards and mobile wallets, was set to launch at the same time. But a staff report said the timeline is not achievable. The system is not expected to be ready until the end of the year.
It is unfortunately embarrassing. This work should have started a decade ago. It's unclear to me why it didn't, but here we are, and I must say that I am very grateful for the very straight talk coming from the director of Halifax Transit today. Council voted to delay the fare raise until December 21st, at which point the tap-to-pay system is set to be integrated. Well, Nova Scotia has unveiled a new fleet of 4 helicopters to help battle wildfires and assist in search and rescue operations. And as Brett Ruskin reports, they've been named by the public.
The government asked for suggestions and the public delivered. More than 10,000 name suggestions came in to name these 4 new helicopters. The list was narrowed down from there. Among the names that didn't make the cut include Choppy McChopface, Joe Howlicopter, obviously named after Joseph Howe, the famous Nova Scotia journalist and politician, as well as Donair Force One. Tragically, those suggestions did not make the cut. However, the 4 new helicopters will be named the Spirit of the Osprey, the Spirit of the Eagle, the Spirit of the Hawk, and the Spirit of the Falcon.
Those names are fitting. They reflect the strength, awareness, and agility. They also reflect the pride of Nova Scotians to feel that the work of the helicopters do are part of our Nova Scotia natural resource. This is a fleet that belongs to the people of this province.
Again, these aircraft are the Airbus H125s, costing around $25 million for the group of 4, a purchase split between the federal government and the provincial government. They will be used for wildfire fighting operations, for search and rescue efforts, as well as any kind of aerial surveillance that the province might need. Again, they'll be based in Shubenacadie, but ready to deploy anywhere across Nova Scotia. Brett Ruskin, CBC News, Halifax.
Jay's here with a first look at the weather and a pretty nice summer day out there.
Yeah, not too bad. We saw humidex values up around 30 in the HRM. We did see temperatures of near 30 in a few spots. So summer heat, not overly humid, but enough humidity that with a cold front moving in tonight, we do have that chance for some unsettled weather. So keep an ear to the sky if you're out later this evening, and really mainly overnight hours for much of the province. But just make sure you're heading indoors or heading for cover at that first sound of thunder. So we will watch for the clouds to continue to increase this evening. There is a chance for a few showers before midnight. I think for the Halifax area and for most of the province, that cold front will likely bring that shower and thunderstorm risk through the overnight hours into early tomorrow morning. But we'll keep an ear to the sky late this evening, overnight. Certainly more northern and western areas could see those thunderstorms arriving a little bit earlier. Into the morning, some fog patches will be possible until that wind picks up. Get some daytime heating. Late morning into the afternoon. Through the early evening, still a chance of showers, and with temperatures up into the high 20s, feeling low to even mid-30s in a few spots. Can't rule out another rumble of thunder possible in the afternoon and early evening. Amy.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Thanks, Jay. A Nova Scotia family says they depended on the federal disability tax credit for years for their son, who is on the autism spectrum. But when he turned 19, his application wasn't renewed. Selena Alders now with the obstacles they faced to get much needed support.
What do you think about it?
Oh. Martin O'Driscoll will always need someone by his side. He's on the autism spectrum and has an intellectual disability.
I guess you could describe Martin as having high support needs. He's not nonverbal, but he's also not conversational.
For years, the O'Driscoll family has relied on the federal disability tax credit, a tax break worth up to $1,500 per year. But when Martin turned 19, his application renewal was denied. As a legal adult, his parents could no longer apply on his behalf. They had to spend thousands of dollars and go through the court system to become his legal guardians.
I was like, what? So
We were surprised to hear that.
yeah, that was the shocker.
The federal government recently expanded its disability tax credit program, which was applauded by advocates. But they caution it won't have its intended impact if there are barriers to access. This researcher says the government should provide more resources to help families navigate a complicated system.
There are very few legal clinics across the country that focus on the rights of persons with disabilities and, what's needed by persons with disabilities.
We want people to understand there's this gap in the system and that it shouldn't be there.
Martin's parents say they understand the requirement might be needed as a safeguard against fraud, but argue the bar is too high.
Special needs parents are already really burdened with appointments and evaluations and school, and then to have all this administrative stuff on top of it is very stressful.
Martin has since been reapproved. The Federal Department of Finance says obtaining legal guardianship is a matter of provincial and territorial law, and that Ottawa will continue to find ways to improve the tax credits application process. Selena Alders, CBC News, Halifax.
The Atlantic Lottery Corporation has paid a $212,000 administrative penalty to Canada's financial watchdog for violating rules meant to report money laundering and terrorist financing. The penalty was handed down in May by the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada. The watchdog found the corporation committed 3 violations. The violations include failing to report a suspicious transaction, keeping internal rules up to date, and properly tracking the risk of financial crimes. In a statement, Atlantic Lottery says it is working with regulators to strengthen their safety measures. For music fans, there's nothing quite like the energy of a live summer festival. For one Nova Scotia musician, taking the stage at the Cavendish Beach Music Festival was also a deeply personal triumph. 11 years after a life-altering accident at the festival site, he returned not as a fan in the crowd, but as the main event. Linus Mulhern has the story of a true full-circle moment.
Connor Hurdle has been in audiences at the Cavendish Music Festival for more than a decade. But this year, he had the best seat in the house, on stage.
This year will be different, obviously going back and playing. Just a full circle moment type of thing. It's crazy to think about how where it started, where your life takes a complete turn, to now you're singing on the stage with some of your best buddies.
Hurdle is the name of his band, and Connor is the lead singer. The band formed just 3 years ago.
Throughout rehab, they try and give you different avenues to deal with what had happened, and writing is a big one. But with me loving music, I said, well, geez, why don't I try writing some songs?
It's a full circle moment for Hurdle. 11 years ago, while in Cavendish for the festival, he broke his neck, leaving him paralyzed and facing a long road of rehabilitation. It's an experience that Connor now draws on in his writing.
Our very first song we put out was one I wrote lyrically. All the band played a part in the music side of it. That's definitely personal. It's just going through my injury and what I've gone through as far as hopefulness and dark days and the good days.
Jackson Meisner has been playing music with Connor for years and is one of the founding members of the band.
I mean, some of the songs he's written a lot of the lyrics, so a lot of it reflects his life post-injury. So him playing those songs at Cavendish, the place where it happened, that's going to be, there's going to be some emotion there. As a whole band, we're kind of playing into that and just kind of giving it everything we have and feeling the music.
Connor has returned to Cavendish every year since 2017. In 2025, he took a chance and applied to play the festival.
The nerves are probably going to be through the roof, but I think we're prepared enough that we can all surpass that. I never thought 11 years ago, after breaking my neck, that we'd have a band and be singing at Cavendish. It wasn't in my mindset at that point.
Connor has always been joined by friends and family at Cavendish, singing along with them in the audience. But this year, he got to sing for them.
It'll be emotional. When we play Some Will Rise, I'm going to try and hold it together. Obviously, it's the story of my injury, but again, I'm surrounded by the boys behind me and beside me playing in the band, and all the people in front of me. I know they'll be there rocking and cheering us on to hopefully keep the emotions in check.
Linus Mulhern, CBC News, Bedford.
And there's a look at Bridgewater. Jay will be up next with a full weather forecast. Stay with us. And Jay's back with his full weather forecast, and it sounds like a bit of unsettled weather on the way.
Yeah, typical of July, Amy. It's, well, cold front sometimes to spoil the party. But really, in terms of the active weather risk for most folks, likely while you're sleeping, you may hear a rumble of thunder. Some pockets of more moderate convective rain will be possible. Late this evening as we look to more northern areas where that cold front is going to arrive first, and then through the overnight hours for more southern and eastern parts of the province. There is a look at our daytime highs across Nova Scotia today. Was cooler if you were downwind of the water. Inland areas were into the low to mid-20s. Few spots like Greenwood did top out near 30 degrees. I think by late afternoon our warmest temperature was about 29, feeling over 30 with the humidex. So some summer heat, bit of humidity into the mix, but not enough to make it too uncomfortable. Tomorrow will be actually a little bit soupier, at least for the first half of the day until that cooler air starts to build in following the passage of that cold front. So as we look through the overnight hours tonight, we will be keeping an ear to the sky for that chance chance for some unsettled weather. Isolated thunderstorms possible along that cold front. Likely the stronger of those storms up into New Brunswick. Can't rule out a few strong thunderstorms, though, pushing into more western and northern areas. There is that cold front. We do have that very robust, very warm southwesterly wind ahead of the front. That is pushing in not just heat, but also more humidity, which is the fuel for thunderstorms. And it's like oil and water. You've got a soupy air mass, and then you get a cold front. The soupy air mass is the energy, and the cold front would be the match that really sparks things off. And we could see those thunderstorms developing late this evening and then moving south and east through the overnight hours. Now, the good news is for most of the province, those thunderstorms should be clearing out into the early morning hours. And it's not a guarantee for a rumble of thunder. These will be more pockets of thunderstorms with periods of rain across the province as the front moves through. We start out with still a west to southwesterly wind in the morning. Wind will be easing initially as the front moves through, so there is a chance for some dense fog patches to start up. Still seeing some wet weather, maybe a few rumbles for eastern areas into the early morning, including Cape Breton. And then as that front moves through, you can see a few isolated showers bubbling up. Those look very convective in nature, and it is still going to be a little on the humid side for the first half of the day, even into the early to mid-afternoon. Takes a while for that westerly wind to flush out that humidity. So those little bubble up showers that we see developing after the front moves through may come with not just a shower, but an isolated thunder shower as well. So just today, if you're out, you'll want to keep an ear to the sky in case you hear a rumble. We'll see that diminishing into the early evening hours before that sky does begin to clear and drier air does move in, really settling those conditions down for Thursday, where we start out sunny across the province. As we move into the afternoon, we can see some wet weather kind of pushing in from our west through New Brunswick as we get in towards supper time, likely holding off for most of the province until late in the day on Thursday. We could see a bit of wet weather after a mainly sunny afternoon as we look to your Thursday night. So not too bad for Thursday. Little unsettled tomorrow, but late this evening and overnight, that's where we have the more widespread risk of not just some heavier pockets of rain, but some thunderstorms as well. So there's that thunderstorm risk across the province tonight. Ahead of that cold front, that wind is still from a warmer wind direction and quite robust. So that we'll see temperatures staying between 15 and near 20 degrees for those overnight low temperatures. And for more northern areas, there is a higher chance for maybe a few stronger thunderstorms to develop. So please be sky aware. Into the afternoon tomorrow, I think this looks a little worse than what it will actually be. You've got a mix of sun and cloud, and as we edge into the late morning and into the afternoon, some showers may start to bubble up. Cannot rule out a few isolated thunder showers. Now, for areas that do see some thunderstorms in the morning, just with that front arriving a little later, more likely just a shower chance for you end of the afternoon. Into the early evening is when you could hear a few rumbles of thunder, but for across most of the province, you are looking at that slight chance for isolated thunder showers or showers developing into the afternoon. Mainly sunny, though, for Thursday. We do have that wet weather that does push in, but that looks to be very late in the day. We can see those temperatures starting to cool off as well towards Friday with a mix of sun and cloud on Friday. And then into that long-range outlook, we do see clouds increasing on Saturday. Some uncertainty in terms of the amount of rainfall, but there is the potential for some heavier periods of rain to build in for Sunday. We'll see some cooler temperatures as a result, just a lack of daytime heating, cloud cover, and that wet weather cooling things off. I think it could be a struggle to hit 20 in a few spots. Don't panic. Temperature does recover to around seasonal daytime high for Monday. Amy?
All right. Thanks for that, Jay. And we're back after this. Tributes are pouring in for John Hamm. Nova Scotia's 25th premier died this week at the age of 88. Neil LeBlanc served as finance minister in the Hamm government. So you worked very closely with Dr. Hamm under some high-pressure situations. How do you think his 30 years as a physician shaped his bedside manner as a premier?
I think it was the style he carried, how he carried himself that basically made him successful. And I think most of it was on his life experiences as a doctor. I think you're absolutely right. He had that quiet, responsible demeanor that basically came in. He was reflective before he made decisions. And I think that carried over from his previous profession. So we were fortunate to have him, and it was a pleasure to work with.
Now, back in 2002, you tabled the province's first balanced budget in 40 years. Why was it so vital to Dr. Hamm to get Nova Scotia back in the black? And how did your government at the time weather the angry protests from civil servants at that time?
It wasn't easy. I will say that if you recall, oftentimes governments put out mandates and so forth, and they try to deal with them as much as they can. I think if you reflect on Dr. Hamm's time, you'll see that basically the platform was pretty well completed by the time we went back to the polls. He set a plan to bring us to responsible government, for fiscally especially, and he was able to achieve that. And for myself, I remember once that we had a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce of Halifax, and they were congratulating me, and I'm saying, you really should be giving this to the Premier, and he was there, because there's no finance minister who can succeed unless that he has the backing and the backbone of his leader to accomplish it, because every day there are demands on government, and John Hamm was focused on trying to achieve a goal, and so he was the backstop, and he was a pleasure to work with, and I guess in a sense it was the most fascinating time of my political career to be able to serve with him.
Now, the 2005 Atlantic Accord was widely seen as his crowning achievement. A lot of us remember him carrying that big check for $830 million in energy royalties. Can you tell me a bit about what it was like behind the scenes of what he called his campaign for fairness?
Well, he was a very principled person, so he believed in it. And when he believed in something, he didn't give up. It didn't matter. I remember people saying, move on to other issues. This is a pie in the sky. and he really, was focused. And I think that's why he was able to achieve things, whether it was upgrades to the community college, balancing the budget, the sale of the province's share of offshore gas and oil, which really was a big plus, and of course the accord that we've been discussing. So, he was an interesting individual, different than the typical politicians that we have seen. And I've said many times since leaving politics that he was from the old school. He worked the hours, he put the time in, and he was from a mold that no longer exists, unfortunately.
Now, he had some heated clashes with healthcare workers. First, the paramedic strike, then Bill 68. That was aimed to take the right to strike away from thousands of healthcare workers. What was that like for someone who'd been a family doctor for decades?
Well, I'm sure it wasn't easy. It's not easy for any member of a caucus when you're dealing with the labor issues, because it's emotional, and when things get emotional, it gets sometimes out of control, and it's just human nature. So it was not easy. I'll tell you. At the same time, we were concerned that we could be able to achieve basically some fiscal balance, and I think it was important for us to try to do that. But I remember the debates and the protests. It wasn't a whole lot of fun. But if you're in it for fun, then you should be going into the exhibition rather than the House of Assembly.
Now, you also served in the Buchanan and Cameron governments. Given the financial scandals and turbulence of those previous PC eras, how radically did John Hamm change the Premier's office?
I think everyone had his style, whether it was, of course, from Buchanan to Roger Bacon and Donald Cameron and so forth. So I saw different things, different styles, and I enjoyed working with all of them. But to me, there's just no one like John Hamm. I became very attached to him. He was very loyal, not only to me but to everyone, and everyone. He was compassionate and kind. And so for us, it's difficult not to become attached to him. But if he believed in something, he would do it, whether it was politically correct or not. And I think, he had a lot of very strong characteristics that basically made him special.
Do you have a favorite memory of your time together?
Well, I remember once we were doing the budget and we're going to table it, and he was going to go for back surgery. And I moved his chair just to get to the clerk just for a second, and I was going to put it back, and then the House we all sat down, and the Premier missed his chair because of me. And anyway, I was appalled, and the Premier was more concerned about me than he was about his back, and that's the kind of person that he was. And we laughed about it many times after. So he's just a regular guy, and at the same time, he was able to do things that people thought he wouldn't be able to achieve. They said he wouldn't be elected. We used to say that if he ever got elected, he'd be a great premier. And lo and behold, in '99, we went from third place to first place during the campaign, and we achieved over 30 seats. And it's an amazing story, and it's one that I'm sure that his family, Janesta, and all the kids probably hold very close to their hearts.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing your memories. We do appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Amy.
Coming up, how researchers are using 3D technology to document the wreck of an historic research vessel more than 80 years after it sank. Welcome back. The U.S. says it has launched a new round of airstrikes against Iran, making it the fourth night of attacks in a row. It's part of the Trump administration's attempt to force the regime to reopen the Strait of Hormuz without tolls. And it comes just hours after the president dropped his threat to impose American fees on ships traveling through the waterway for protection, announcing a new plan for compensation in its place. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Donald Trump, sitting alongside the Iraqi Prime Minister, laid out a new plan. One he says will benefit not just the US, but countries throughout the Middle East.
You have Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait, primarily, and then others. I spoke to all of them, and they would love to invest more money in the United States at record amounts. And that would be very acceptable.
The US president said those calls came from the Gulf leaders after he floated a plan on Monday to impose a 20% fee on any cargo that passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Instead of charging a toll, Trump says Gulf nations have pledged to invest billions and billions of dollars in the US. And he teased oil partnership announcements to come this week or next. On Tuesday, Trump acknowledged he didn't like the concept of a fee on any waterway. He and his administration had pushed back on previous Iranian tolls. But the US blockade is back. It again sees the American Navy preventing Iran-flagged, as well as Iran-linked vessels from entering or exiting Iranian ports. Negotiations between Washington and Tehran have broken down, and the preliminary ceasefire appears in tatters, following consecutive nights of US strikes on Iran and escalating threats. Raising fears diplomacy is dead, military action is once again the way forward, with seemingly no way out of the conflict that began almost 5 months ago. Nick Harper for CBC News, Washington.
Two deadly shootings by ICE agents less than a week apart are putting a new focus on the Trump administration crackdown on immigration.
Welcome the other. We have always been welcoming to our neighbors.
Protesters in Maine are calling for immigration and customs enforcement agents to leave their state. ICE confirms that a 26-year-old man from Colombia was fatally shot yesterday when agents tried to stop his vehicle. That shooting echoed a deadly confrontation with ICE in Texas 6 days ago. A 52-year-old man was fatally shot after being stopped by ICE agents. In India, the brutal killing of a young Punjabi singer, police say, may be connected to Canada. 3 men were arrested in India, though none has been charged. But Punjab police allege their chief suspect lives in Canada and want to question him. Susan Ormiston brings us the story.
We're on the trail of a brutal murder here in Ludhiana, Punjab. The victim was a popular 29-year-old Punjabi singer, Yashwinder Kaur.
Her murder touched off a wild frenzy of speculation, fueled by police that the chief suspect had fled to Canada.
On the last night of her life, Yashwinder Kaur ended up here near a well-known canal outside the city. By midnight, she was dead, shot in the forehead and the chest, and her body and her car were dumped in the canal.
The family feels helpless.
My child, come back to me. Nothing feels right. Nothing feels good anymore.
I'm sorry.
My daughter wants justice.
In May, under pressure, police paraded 3 suspects arrested as accomplices to abduction. They're jailed but not charged. The man police want to find is Sukhwinder Singh Brar. They claim he's a permanent resident in Canada and their primary suspect.
Happy birthday to you.
According to Kaur's family, he and she shared a long-distance friendship with talk of marriage before, they say, they discovered he was already married in Canada. A cousin is pleading for Canada to get involved.
We urge the Canadian government,
and we seek his deportation to India.
But with no charges yet and a case still to be tested in court, there's no process to engage Canadian authorities. If the suspect is in Canada. CBC has confirmed he's listed as a director in a construction business in Calgary and owns a home, but he hasn't responded to attempts to contact him. The RCMP and Calgary police have told us they've had no contact regarding this murder. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Ludhiana, India.
The Alberta referendum, resources, and a duty to consult were all on the agenda as the National Chief opened this year's Assembly of First Nations General Meeting. Creason Ajkute has the details from Ottawa.
During the National Chief's opening address to chiefs, Cindy Woodhouse-Nepenak said the country is a new Canada that includes Indigenous people, stressing the importance of including Indigenous leadership at all decision-making tables when it comes to resource development projects in Canada.
Our rights are our rights, and this land is our land.
Woodhouse-Nepenak highlighted the need for Indigenous sovereignty and the duty for all provinces, territories, and Prime Minister Mark Carney to consult. She stressed that not one project will get built without First Nations approval. The chief said that the Prime Minister's office has confirmed there will be a meeting this fall between First Ministers and chiefs from across the country.
Chiefs are united in saying that this national meeting can't be a one and done. That means establishing an ongoing federal provincial accountability mechanism to ensure that socioeconomic gaps are addressed through deeds and not words.
The AFN is also concerned about Mark Carney's revised water bill, C-37, essentially saying it wanted to see the explicit recognition of First Nations' human right to safe drinking water. And she repeated her stance on Alberta separatism. Have a listen.
We have made it clear that any proposal to separate from any province or territory from Canada is fundamentally illegitimate and unconstitutional without the explicit, prior, informed and collective consent of First Nations. We need to make and call it what it is, because Albertans need to know that if they vote to separate from Canada, that they're not taking the land with them.
There are more than 50 resolutions to be decided on by chiefs in the next 3 days. They include child welfare, Indian Act status, and calls for the Vatican to rescind a number of papal decrees. Creason Ajkute, CBC News, Ottawa.
It appears Canadians may be more willing to travel to the U.S. than they were a year ago. Cross-border traffic is picking up again. But as the CBC's Nisha Patel tells us, not everyone is ready to head south.
Border crossings are busier as Canadian travel to the U.S. picked up for the third month in a row. Car trips south of the border rising more than 5% in June compared to the same time a year ago.
I'm even starting to hear French being spoken again at stores and at attractions.
It's a relief for businesses in border cities, which have seen a dramatic drop in Canadian visitors since early 2025.
It was quiet, for sure, and I think everybody who lives here, whether you are in hospitality or not, you definitely noticed it and realized it was missed.
Some Canadians started boycotting travel to the U.S. after Donald Trump imposed steep tariffs and suggested Canada should become the 51st state. But over the past year, there's been a push to win them back.
Border destinations in the U.S. Have been offering some type of at par or value promotions to help benefit the exchange rate a little bit more.
Canada! Canada! World Cup games in 11 American cities may also have lured Canadians south. Still, travel hasn't returned to pre-Trump levels. Flights to the U.S. haven't rebounded, down nearly 4% compared to a year ago.
They've lost actually the most lucrative types of tourists, those snowbirds that are going down and spending 2-3 months there. And that's going to be a hard market to regain.
In Windsor, Ontario, just across the river from Detroit, some Canadians say they're keeping their travel plans.
I have for 50 years. Why stop now?
Others say they aren't likely to visit the U.S. anytime soon.
I have zero desire to go over there by any means whatsoever.
I don't like it anymore, and I don't like the guy running the whole show.
Despite the recent uptick, overall Canadian travel to the U.S. is still way down, about 30% lower than before Donald Trump took office. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
3D technology is allowing Arctic researchers to learn more about the wreck of an historic research vessel. It's been over 80 years since the Terra Nova sank, and the ship that once carried famed explorers continues to help polar science. The CBC's Peter Cowan shows us how aboard the research ship Atlantis.
They're just getting Alvin the submersible ready for a dive down to the shipwreck. We're just off the coast of Greenland. This is the farthest north that Alvin has ever been in the water, and it presents some challenges. That water is just 2 degrees Celsius, very chilly for the swimmers needed to launch and recover this submersible. And then there's the icebergs. One came so close to the ship, they had to cancel one of the dives.
We did see this morning that there were icebergs about. We didn't think that that would be that big a deal. We were wrong. There are not just one, but 2 icebergs that beelined right at the wreck site. In fact, at this very moment, one of them is over the wreck site.
These dives are bringing back the most detailed pictures we've ever seen of the Terra Nova. This is the ship that Robert Falcon Scott used to reach the South Pole. It's showing us things like the double wheels at the stern of the ship, some other things like the boiler and the steam winch that were on board. Before and after it was an exploration ship, it was used as a sealing vessel based out of St. John's, Newfoundland. We're not just getting video, we're getting a 3D model that's being created with new technology. It'll allow historians to look at this wreck in 3 dimensions, but this is also very useful for biologists who want to understand this new habitat that the ship has become.
The 3D model allows me to have the full context. So I know not just I'm on the bow, I'm on the stern, but this particular sample is 30 meters from the bow, and that means that, you know, I can analyze things a lot more quantitatively. It allows us to be much more mathematical.
This expedition, being led by the Royal Canadian Geographical Society, hopes the data and images that it gathers will be studied long after this trip is over. Peter Cowan, CBC News, on board the research vessel Atlantis off the coast of Greenland.
Russia and the United States may be at odds over the war in Ukraine, but cooperation is still alive on more flighty matters.
Booster ignition now at full throttle and liftoff. Minin, Dubrov, and Kikina now on their way to the International Space Station.
Russia launched the Soyuz MS-29 spacecraft with 3 astronauts, 2 Russians and an American on board. They're bound for the International Space Station, where they'll spend about 8 months as the station's 75th rotation crew. The heads of both NASA and Russia's space agency attended the liftoff, a first since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Canada's main stock index finished in positive territory today, helped by gains in the basic materials sector, while U.S. markets also edged higher. Here's a look at the numbers as we go to break.
Hi, I'm Steve Sutherland in Sydney. If you want to know what's happening in Cape Breton Island or what's important to the people who live here, join me for Information Morning Cape Breton. News, views, interviews, live reports, reporters on the scene on matters of politics, art, community, current affairs. If it's being talked about in Cape Breton, we're talking about it on Information Morning. Every weekday morning from 6 to 8:37 on CBC Radio 1.
And Jay is back with one last look at the weather. Hey there, Jay.
Yeah, approaching cold front tonight, Amy. So from northern areas this evening and then overnight for the rest of the province into early tomorrow morning for eastern areas. Do keep an ear to the sky now. This should lose a bit of steam after the potential for very strong thunderstorms into New Brunswick, even parts of western PEI. Can't rule out some stronger cells pushing in towards the Amherst area, some more northern areas, just with the timing of that front. But otherwise, hopefully losing a bit of steam, but still across the province overnight tonight, we do have that risk of thunderstorms to develop. So if you hear a rumble, you happen to be out late this evening, hopefully most folks are sleeping through the overnight hours. Do head for cover. Head indoors when thunder roars. Could see those showers and thunderstorms lingering into the morning hours for eastern areas and then into the afternoon. So late morning into the afternoon, you can see a few of these little pop-up showers. These, because it will still be quite humid, particularly in the early afternoon, may come with a rumble of thunder as well. So isolated shower or thunder shower chance will be there late morning, afternoon, and into the early evening hours before conditions continue to wind down Wednesday night into what will be a nice one for most of Thursday. We do have that wet weather pushing in Thursday night. As for tomorrow morning, that wind does drop off into the early morning hours, and just with that wet weather through the overnight hours tonight, we still have some abundant humidity. We could see some dense fog patches, mainly for coastal areas, but even inland as well, so keep that in mind for you early morning commuters. Towards the noon hour, we start to see that convective shower, so late morning, that convective shower potential. This means you could get a rumble of thunder into the afternoon, and I'm going to keep that chance in. It's not steady rain and thunderstorms all afternoon, but at any time could see some clouds bubble up with some height, and that results in maybe a brief pocket of rain with an isolated thunderstorm as well. Just important to be sky aware for your Wednesday. Amy?
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for that, Jay.
You got it.
Well, here's a sweet maritime story. The CBC's Taylor O'Brien takes us to a local orchard in Arlington, PEI, where a 30-year journey made the Honeycrisp apple a legendary local success story.
It's been 30 years since Barry Balsam first brought the Honeycrisp apple to a PEI orchard. He still remembers the first time he and his wife tasted one. He says it was so juicy, crisp, and sweet that he wanted to grow his own on the island. Now, several orchards on PEI grow Honeycrisps.
It's been a long journey for Honeycrisp, a 30-year journey for Honeycrisp. It's been a successful journey for Honeycrisp.
Balsam says some things have changed over the years. He says the Honeycrisp thrives in cool nights and warm days, so it's an apple perfectly suited for PEI weather conditions. But as temperatures in the climate have gotten warmer, Balsam says there have been some challenges, like learning to deal with insect and disease pressures and drought.
For an old farmer in Prince Edward, I know how to grow in cold. I know how to grow in rain. It's darn hard. It's a learning curve to grow in drought, but we did learn to grow in drought. You do what you got to do, so you learn it pretty quick. So, but as I say, it's changing.
He says last season he sent 48 tractor trailer loads of mostly Honeycrisp from his orchard to get packaged, and he now wants to export his Honeycrisps off island. He's also working with provincial government and the Apple Growers Association to create an education program to give island growers the knowledge they need to grow the world's best Honeycrisp apple.
I feel I'm obligated to, and I would be more than willing to help out young growers because, you know, the biggest threat to an industry is a poor grower.
Balsam's apples still have more growing to do and will be ready for picking in early September. He says as long as the variety is marketed and exported well, there will be more Honeycrisp apples grown on the island. Taylor O'Brien, CBC News, Arlington.
Well, it was a hero's welcome for the Norwegian football players yesterday. Norway fans performing the now famous Viking Row celebrations with the Norwegian soccer teams. More than 100,000 fans flooded the streets of the country's capital, Oslo, to welcome them home after returning from the World Cup. Norway was eliminated following a 2-1 extra time defeat against England. But that heartbreak certainly didn't dim celebrations. Norway had an historic World Cup run after qualifying for the first time in 28 years and reaching the quarterfinals. Royal fans, well, that is it for us tonight. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.